On gaming tables in Las Vegas casinos, there are colored chips of all denominations. Only a handful of companies make them, and manufacturing processes are kept top secret. So when two devious cheats successfully counterfeited chips, it catapulted them right into the Cheater Hall of Fame.
It wasn't that easy, but once it came to us and we figured out a way, it came fast.
In 2000, small-time contractor Eric Morikawa of Southern California moves to Las Vegas to find work. Soon, Morikawa has more work than he can handle. He hires additional help, including 20-year-old Jeremy Lewis.
Jeremy I met at a bar shooting pool, and he was out of work, and I gave him a job.
But Morikawa's new employee has a checkered past.
Jeremy Lewis was a known bad guy. He had some drug and forgery warrants outstanding in California, and he had also had multiple arrests here in the Las Vegas area.
But on one of their return trips, Morikawa spots something on the side of the road that gets him thinking.
I saw a chip on the billboard and asked them how hard would it be to make the chip, and we all agreed it wouldn't be that difficult.
In that moment, Morikawa and his crew decide to do what no one else has successfully done: counterfeit the currency of Vegas, casino chips.
We went up to Vegas, and we would get the chip from the table. We took it back to my garage, and we broke it down. We broke it in half, tried to see what was contained inside the chip.
Casino chips are made out of clay, sand, and other earthen metals that are heated to extreme temperatures and pressed into shape. Morikawa and the crew start trying to replicate them.
We were trying to make our own chips from scratch, from different clays, injecting metals, and trying to get it that weight. It was hard. It was really hard.
In order to pass, the fake chips must have the same weight, feel, and the hollow sound that real chips make when they're dropped. The team do their own sound tests. This is the real chip, and this is the imposter. The $100 chip is black and gray, and the $1 chip is gray and teal. Morikawa suddenly realizes it would be easier to modify a chip than to create one from scratch. It's a huge breakthrough.
So I grabbed a Sharpie pen, and I just was like, well, we just need to paint black.
It looks like they can take $1 chips and convert them into $100 chips with a little effort. First, they must remove the $1 inlay from the center.
We tried heating it up to pull it off. Heating it up would bend the chip, so we would put it in boiling water, and it would penetrate the inlay.
The 212-degree water leaves the chip unharmed, but softens the inlay, allowing them to easily pull it off. Next step, duplicating the black and gray shades of the $100 chip.
We would get our paints from an art supply store. We would sit there and just mix the colors, you know, blend them in, and then put it on the real chip, and then wait for it to dry. And we both look at it under light outside, you know, different types of light, and then make sure the color matched to a T. It was very, very, very close.
Then it's on to the painting. They start with the gray color of the accent stripes, known as pips. Using an airbrush, they cover the entire chip.
It had to be a light spray, which an airbrush spray is really light.
Once the paint dries, they block out the pips with painter's tape. Then airbrush everything else black. When the tape is removed, the colors on the counterfeit chip mirror the authentic one.
Eric Morikawa and Jeremy Lewis really did a good job at matching the colors, and that's not easy to do because the colors are always very unique. You can't do it perfectly. They didn't do it perfectly, but they got them very close.
Once the color's in place, the next step is creating the phony $100 graphic inlay. They scan a real one into a computer, then print it on clear plastic to give it a glossy look. Then the plastic is glued onto a white backing made of bumper sticker paper.
You'd run the inlays through kind of like a pasta roller, and the new inlay would fit perfectly inside the chip.
The chip is ready. After a month of work, they finally have 3 $100 counterfeit chips. Morikawa and Lewis head 10 minutes off the Vegas Strip to the Green Valley Ranch Casino in Henderson, Nevada, to see if they can fool the casino.
I don't lie very well, so I can't walk into a casino and keep a straight face and go to the cashier cage and cash the chips. I feel guilty.
Jeremy Lewis takes the lead.
I'm sitting in the parking lot. While he's trying to cash these chips in the casino, I'm hoping, everything's going okay, nothing's going to happen.
Moments later, Lewis reappears.
Ran up to the truck and hopped in and said, drive. And we drove. I thought security was chasing them and looking over our shoulders.
But no one's behind them. And when Morikawa looks over, Lewis has 3 $100 bills in his hand. The counterfeit chips work. Morikawa and Lewis are able to counterfeit 20 chips a day. They plan to work their scam all over town. To match the various chips, they stock up on supplies.
There's different colors on the chips. A lot of it had glitter, so we would take the glitter pens and dab the glitter in there and give it that metallic look.
They passed fraudulent chips at 8 different casino properties, including Caesar's Palace and Mandalay Bay. These guys were all over town.
They are well on their way to the Cheater Hall of Fame, but they realize that sooner or later, cashing in chips without ever playing a single casino game is bound to arouse suspicion. To avoid getting caught, they need to change their game.
We had to find a way where it was kind of foolproof, where they wouldn't be able to immediately catch on.
To make the scam look legitimate, they start playing at the gaming tables, buying real chips from dealers.
We'd lay $2,000 on the table, they give us the chips, and the camera overhead sees that. So we use that to our advantage. And then we would exchange them either in the bathroom or parking lot and get the counterfeit ones, and we'd have the real ones. If you went up to a cage and cashed them out and they caught it, you could always refer back to, hey, that table gave them to me. Later on, taking back the real ones, they wouldn't question it because they were real.
Morikawa keeps the source of his newfound wealth a secret from everyone, including his wife.
At first she asked, but then she was just like, I don't want to know. And she was getting new purses, clothes. At one point, I counted 100 pairs of shoes in boxes in a closet. So, yeah, she was benefiting from it, too.
For 3 months, Eric and his wife enjoy their extravagant new lifestyle. But partner Jeremy Lewis heads down a much different path.
I found him at an $800 a night suite at the Riviera. The place was bigger than my whole house. And he was there with a bunch of girls. And he hadn't had any sleep. He was wired.
Lewis's lifestyle soon becomes a liability.
One day, he was talking to one of the girls on the phone, and I could overhear him because it was loud. So I told him, hey, hand me the phone. I want to talk to her. So he gave me the phone, and she said, I know everything that you guys do. And I looked down, I was like, why would you tell, my wife doesn't even know. Why would you tell a stranger all this, And, now she wants money. Now we have to pay her.
For a few days, they pay her hush money.
But then she started to want more, and then she was telling us that, hey, my man's in jail, we need to get him out.
I need money, and I want it now.
She threatens to reveal their scam to police in a bid to get her boyfriend's sentence reduced, so they pay her off again. A few days later, it seems like everything has blown over. Morikawa's wife leaves the country to visit her mother. As soon as she's gone, Morikawa and Lewis start planning a trip to Atlantic City to hit their casinos.
I get a knock at a door. There's a guy at the door and says, hey, my son threw a ball in your backyard. Can you go get it? As I was turning around to get the ball out of the backyard, he grabs me, throws me on the ground. 2 other agents jump out of the bushes. They're fully armed, and they're rushing into the house over me.
They are enforcement agents from the Nevada Gaming Control Board. Lewis's blackmailer has apparently turned them in after all.
Enough information was developed to obtain a search warrant, and when the home was searched, every piece of evidence we were looking for was there. The whole setup was found.
The chips are of such quality that some of those that have been passed in the recent past may not have been detected yet.
Stunned Las Vegas authorities must now deal with the fact that 2 construction workers have compromised the security of casino chips. Morikawa and Lewis are in jail. 3 days later, the pair are brought before a judge.
They were given $5 million bail, not for murdering someone, not for raping someone, for counterfeiting casino chips. Our state takes this stuff really seriously.
Since neither can make bail, Morikawa and Lewis are taken back to the maximum security jail. The hefty bail makes Morikawa a celebrity among the inmates.
When I came in there, a bunch of the people were like, oh, wow, your bail's $5 million. They called another guy over and was like, hey, you know, he has a higher bail than you. And he was a Russian guy.
And not just any guy. The man has ties to a Russian gang.
Met him and sat down and talked with him and told him my story, and he was interested. He's all about business, and he was like, you know what, we do need to talk once you get out, if you get out, you know.
A few days later, Morikawa's attorney gets him a new bail hearing.
And it lowered my bail from $5 million to, I think it was like 12,000. So I could bail out.
After ripping off the casinos for tens of thousands of dollars, Morikawa ends up serving just 10 days. Jeremy Lewis, his partner in crime, is not so lucky. His outstanding drug and forgery arrest warrants keep him behind bars. Morikawa is free, but deeply in debt.
I made the house payments. I paid majority of the bills by doing what I was doing. And now I have a case, and I need to pay my attorneys.
Desperate, he calls the Russian, who's also just been released from jail. The Russian wants Morikawa to teach him how to make counterfeit chips.
I was very concerned because I knew that if I got caught again, I would not get out.
Once again, faced with overwhelming debts, Morikawa looks to counterfeiting as a way out. But this time, he won't get his hands dirty. For 25% of the profits, he agrees to train the Russians.
I would take roads out of the way to meet with them. I would constantly watch for people in my mirrors and see if anyone was following.
Once the Russians are trained, they begin passing the phony chips at casinos. In Las Vegas, an alert casino employee spots a few of them.
They looked a little different in the rack than the other chips and turned out to be counterfeit. Then we had to do some backtracking and try to find these people.
The investigation leads to the only 2 people who've ever made chips that can pass for the real thing, Jeremy Lewis and Eric Morikawa. With Jeremy Lewis still in prison, that leaves Morikawa, and agents are closing in.
One day, I was training the Russian guys, and there's a knock at the door. It's the police. We had all the chips and equipment laying around. I'm looking at the ceiling and trying to figure out a way to get out, and there's no way. So as soon as they came in, I dropped to my knees and put my hands behind my head, and I knew I was arrested again.
Eric Morikawa hires a shrewd Vegas defense attorney. It's a move that pays off in spades. In 2006, Morikawa makes a deal and pleads guilty to 6 felony counts. He walks with 5 years probation and community service.
The most time I spent in jail was a week and a half when I first got arrested. The second arrest, I was only in there a couple days before I bailed out.
Still, Morikawa must make restitution for all the fraudulent chips he passed.
Restitution is at $36,000 is what they could only find in the chips. I think we did over $1 million. And they claim that they're probably still in circulation. They can't even find them. I would not cheat Vegas again. It's easy money and it's fast, but it's not worth it. It's not worth giving up your livelihood and your family and embarrassing your family, no.
While new technology keeps chips safe from manipulation, easy money is always a target for the world-class Vegas cheater.